Francisca,
Yes.
Al Maley,
Yes.
Kelly, Kevin Doherty,
Yes.
Mike Aurelio,
Yes.
Dave Molitor,
Yes.
6 yes, 4 absent, and 32.
Okay. There's some things that came up, there's no action that we're voting on as a result of closed session, but I do want to talk about future agenda items, and Mr. Rudy, you brought something
I
up.
did. Well, it's more of a discussion for now. I think.
Well, yeah, it would just be a discussion.
Okay.
Just talking about the PTO had expressed to me that they're going towards the paperless backpack, which is a wonderful idea. I know they have their biggest fundraiser of the year coming up, and we're kind of, no one is really in tune with the paperless system yet, so I think transition period from paper and then a little buffer period, so let's talk about that, where they will be allowed to do their paper advertising for that big fundraiser. That's their big fundraiser.
They'll print it
$20,000.
themselves. They just want to be able to.
Yeah, they just want to be allowed to do it. They pay for us. We're not going to pay for it. They're going to pay for it. They just want to be allowed to be able to distribute it paper-wise.
To how will they be distributing it?
Through their
How
normal
it's
way,
done in
through
the
students.
past.
Yeah, same way as they've done it in
Okay.
the past. So, I think they're being prohibited at the moment.
You know, the virtual backpack's a great idea, but it's not like last year they were saying, next year we're going to start doing it. This was implemented this year,
And they're not ready
and they're not ready for it.
So if they
And this is
raised
their biggest
a quarter of what they
fundraiser.
raised last year for the biggest fundraiser in the year, that would be
And it's going to have a lasting effect all the way across, because their revenues are going to. Sure.
Can I give some background to the process that we went through to get to this position? It might be helpful. When I first got here, I met with each of the organizations to talk with them about, how we could support them, how they support us, and what we can do to enhance our relationship. In July, we floated the idea of a virtual backpack and reached out to each of the organizations to ask them to give us some feedback about what their feelings were about the virtual backpack. One of the things that prompted that is it takes a lot of staff time as well as expense of copying. And we know that the delivery home can be inconsistent depending on the child. So we talked about the possibility of going to a virtual backpack. There were some questions. We established some criteria. Some of the organizations are absolutely thrilled. Some of the organizations still kind of want to get in and get that one last document out there. The difficulty we anticipate is if we do a hybrid system where some things go home and some things don't, we are going to build an expectation on parents' part that if it's important, it'll come home in the backpack. If it's not, it won't. So that's why we've asked everybody to provide information to us so that we can post their materials on our virtual backpack, as well as have email sent home. If they want to send an email blast home, they can do that. In addition, the principals can include it in their newsletter. One improvement we've also made is this year, every month, we will be providing them an updated directory list, because that way they can keep current with any new move-ins or if there's anybody who's opted out of the process. I think one of the difficulties that we're anticipating and expect is if we do start sending some paper home, but not other paper, then we're going to have that competition among all the organizations that you sent it home for this person, but you don't send it home for us, therefore you don't support us as much. And it's a difficult thing, so that's why we made the determination that the procedures would be in place for everyone at the same time and in the same way. And we know that that has been
I agree
a
with
challenge for some organizations.
You know what, I'm not advocating for a hybrid system, I agree with you 100%. I'm just saying that this is extremely new. No one knows
It's
what
kind
they're
of like a
going with
transition
it.
period.
And maybe a transition period, maybe warn everybody, this is it, like at January 1st, some kind of grace period for everybody gets used to it. I don't think anybody knows it's there yet. My
What
wife
if
and
we
I know
allowed
it's there.
that handed out as the students walked out or something like that, and just let them know this is the only time we're going to do it? They're paying for the printing.
I almost think you should give them a couple of warnings, like, this is it, the last one,
Well,
you gotta
put it
warn
on.
everybody, this is it.
And in fact, it's just that they put instructions for the virtual backpack on that flyer or something. I don't want to cut them short. This is their biggest fundraiser, and I didn't know about the virtual backpack until school started.
That's correct, because that's when
And
we
I'm
started
not
to
faulting
communicate,
it. I'm not
right?
faulting
It's a
it.
great idea,
They're just,
it's a way to go for the future.
I mean, this is just one way to help them out this time, Had they known last year, they could have been planning for it. So it's a growing pain.
Well, and I guess my frustration is that we talked with all the organizations in July, and we believe that we had consensus before we moved forward.
Yeah, the only.
Well, can I ask this, sorry,
Go ahead.
who's come to you from the PTO objecting to this?
Nobody has specifically come to me. They have gone to the principals. One person I know has gone to two principals.
So two principals, okay.
And I don't mean to add this, but I just know that this might be something we'll hear back. I know that the school here, Old Quarry PTO, they did hand out something for their fundraiser.
Was that before school started or just
No,
as
that
school
was-
Just, we
started?
just got it
And I know
Friday.
everybody here has kids in the school, so they're probably all sitting here going, how come?
We released the collective set of procedures at the same time to everybody. Yes, some documents went out earlier and some didn't, because we didn't put the procedure in place until the first week of school. And so we know that we had that transition where some things went out and others didn't. We do know that
But
that
we're
happened.
putting others at a disadvantage now.
Not from that point forward. And as of last week, when I sent the email out that said, here's the procedure, here's how you can do your email blasts. If I'm not mistaken, with the virtual backpack, if something is added, you can mark to be notified if something is
I
added.
believe so, and I've been doing them daily, so they don't have to worry about them getting up there. I mean, later on, I'll be doing them weekly, but because it's new, I've been putting flyers on every day.
And each of the principals is, indicating in their newsletter, we've asked the teachers to communicate that with parents as well. And I'm sensitive to what you're saying. We're always gonna have that cutoff point where somebody will have missed.
I would ask if you do the cutoff point after the fundraiser.
Which one?
That's their biggest one. It's this
For,
month.
for the PTO?
Yeah, this month, it's like
This month is
September
25th.
25th or something. It'll be
I
too
mean,
late if we
we're
wait.
running out of time.
Right, that's my only thing. I agree with everything you said, except for it's so new, and this is the big one for them. And if they don't advertise this in paper, I would almost guarantee, because I wouldn't pay attention to it if my boy wasn't in the PTO, I'd say a good percentage of people who donate and gladly do so will not know about it. They won't do it. Only, and just said that, I think they need this transition period.
You don't think, Mike, if they get their e-blasts directly from the PTO?
I think people delete those just like myself, I get those. I
But
hate
you
to
know,
say.
but you know what, if you put in there important fundraiser coming or something, you think it's that they'd still delete it, Mike?
I would think so. I would say a good percentage of will. And the others,
Well, it's obviously an issue because we've both heard about it.
right. I would say
You
for
wanna
this
clarify
one,
the pressure?
I would say because it's so
Represent that.
new, I would, then you maybe transfer that. I agree, a hybrid system is a bad idea, but I think in this one it's.
I don't want to go backwards.
And
We're asking for an exception this one time because they didn't know in August, we didn't know in August.
Actually,
Well,
they did know in August, they knew in July, and my frustration is we just sent out newsletters to all the parents saying, this is the new way that we're gonna communicate, everything's gonna be on the virtual backpack. Now, if we do something different, we just
Make sure
invalidated
and put
what
on the
we
back,
sent
well, this
out.
will be the last time. Something like, that's fine, yeah. Letting them know it's the last time.
yeah, I, tongue in cheek, but I agree with that. And possibly give them instructions on how to get to the virtual backpack.
Right, maybe we need to send up a flyer, I mean, we need to go to the, I don't think most people, parents know that.
And Sandy wants to say something.
Well, I wanted to ask,
Or
what
some.
would you suggest they do to everyone else that asks for an exception?
On
Because
this
do
one, I would
have
give it
Oh,
to
no.
Say no to some and yes to
I would
others.
say in this one, I would give the exception to it, and if you want to have a hard cutoff the day after this, I'd say, because it's only because they're gonna raise, tens of thousands of dollars, I mean, it's
I
important,
mean, we
that's
let
useful
Old
money.
Quarry give it out, and now we're saying River Valley and Oakwood can't do it though.
The fifth grade, yeah.
It was one classroom.
It was one classroom, it was a mistake, we caught it, we fixed it.
The one class or one
Fifth
grade?
grade, one grade.
I think my opinion, I have to say, is that I've never been an advocate for individual people on the board. I couldn't be more grateful to the PTO for what they've done, but I have to support the superintendent, and I don't micromanage this district, and I think this is a superintendent decision. And not for board members to, when people come to them, to hassle our superintendent and try to pressure the superintendent to reverse her position on individual items. It's a difficult situation, and we make those all the time. But, you know, that's my position. I'm not here to override the superintendent. And if I feel the superintendent's making bad decisions, do bad things, that'll come out at some point in time in due process. But managing the district is something I don't want to do. Or I feel it's not my responsibility, it's above my responsibility as a board member. Because there's always a reason for exceptions.
And if we have people waiting for theirs to go out, I think it would be inappropriate for us to say, you're okay, but you're not okay.
Well,
And it's very difficult for
you know,
me.
I respect your opinion,
It's
I
very
do,
difficult.
and I think it's reasoned and sound. I would just say, you know, virtually never, but there is discretion, and that's what we're
And it's
paid the big
superintendent's
dollar
job,
amount for
that's a
all of us.
superintendent, I would submit.
To interject if there's something we see here, you know, which we thought would be worth discussing, that's why we discuss it.
We're not here saying, you
Right,
have to do this.
no one's here steamrolling anybody, we're having a
We're
discussion.
having a discussion, right, and to say we shouldn't have that discussion, I don't agree with
Yeah,
that.
I don't agree with that part, right?
And I like the virtual backpack, granted, I can't find it, because I don't know how to use it, but
So you like it.
it's a great concept.
It's
I like
it
it,
up
I've
on
never
the
used
screen for you.
Mike.
Virtual backpack is around the right-hand side.
It's right up on top.
Oh, you put it on top, okay.
I see it's
I saw it off the. it was
Please
off the-
reconsider, it's a reasonable thing to have a grace period. I agree, you cannot have a hybrid system, I agree 100%, but if you're transitioning to a new system, tell me I'm a slow learner, you know, and if you're looking for me to donate, I think you better make it easy for me. Because it's my money and I'm letting you have it, so I think you better, I'm saying you should reconsider
I
that.
mean, the IRS does it all the time, and then they have to extend it because different reasons. I've said my piece.
Exactly.
You have people in here, Mike, let them know, I'll print an article for you, so they, you know, have them on the
Janice, help
paper.
us out here.
Help us out, Janice, come on.
This is Carmen from the PCO at Oakwood River Valley, right? I got releases, is it fun run or something? I was just checking
No.
out. Then I don't have
Well,
it.
there's another one.
Oh, there's another one?
And that's
Fun
effective.
run, bingo, and
So
all of the arts, that's all I have. Just
We're
FYI. So
We're
they
sick-
can send it to me, but.
Pretty successful, man. There's, you got, it was cheap.
I can't hear you. What'd you say?
Oakwood River Valley.
If they just recently sent out something, I can see, you know, I can see where we might be able to make a case for it, but I can also see the fact that you just sent out something saying, we're gonna go virtual, and now we're gonna go back.
Are the
We're virtual
principals
again.
still
No,
allowed,
that's-
are the
yeah, that's-
principals still allowed to make the announcements at school too, or putting the links to the? Because that's what gets the kids all excited, I mean, they're the ones that bring their parents, it always cracks me up. I always feel guilty when my son comes home and it's like, wow.
Right.
And the teachers are putting, or the principals in their newsletters are putting links to the flyers to the virtual backpack. So
Which
parents
is
read the
wonderful, I know,
newsletters,
that's a
and
wonderful
they're trying to
thing.
make it,
Yeah, it is. I like the system, don't get me wrong, I think it's gonna be very successful in the long run. I do, agree, that's what it needs to be done. So, I said my piece, this is my opinion.
I finished a while ago.
Anything else as far as future agenda items?
Yeah,
Yes.
actually,